My alien girlfriend wants to meet my family, but they're not ready for it. It all started when I met Xyra at a quiet observatory just outside town. She had shimmering blue skin, eyes that looked like galaxies, and a voice that hummed like a cosmic lullaby. She was an alien from a distant star system who had been quietly observing Earth for years. It wasn't long before we clicked. Our shared curiosity about each other's worlds brought us closer, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. But now, after months of bliss, Xyra wanted to take our relationship to the next level. She wanted to meet my family. "I want to understand the people who made you who you are," she said one evening, her gaze as soft as starlight. "It's important to me." I froze. Xyra meeting my family? My parents were kind-hearted but deeply traditional, and the idea of explaining that my girlfriend was from another planet literally seemed like a monumental challenge. My younger sister, Sarah, would probably think it was cool, but my dad? He still grumbled about those conspiracy theories on the Discovery Channel. I don't think they're ready for it," I said, trying to sound diplomatic. Xyra tilted her head, her iridescent hair catching the light. "Humans value family bonds, don't they? Isn't meeting one's partner's family a way to strengthen trust?" She wasn't wrong. But how could I explain this to my parents? Over the next few days, I tried to prepare them without outright spilling the truth. "So, I've been dating someone," I began casually over dinner. My mom's face lit up. "Oh, that's wonderful, Jake. When do we get to meet her?" "Well, soon, but she's different," I said cautiously. "Different how?" my dad asked, narrowing his eyes. "She's from far away." "Far away?" Sarah chimed in, grinning. "Like another country?" "Sort of," I muttered. "Let's just say she's not exactly from around here." The vague answers didn't satisfy anyone, but they agreed to meet her the following weekend. I prayed they wouldn't have a meltdown when they saw her. When the day arrived, Xyra took great care to present herself in a way that she thought would be approachable. She dimmed the glow of her skin and wore a long, flowy dress to hide her more alien features. I couldn't help but admire her effort. "Ready?" I asked nervously as we stood outside my parents' house. She smiled and squeezed my hand. "Ready?" The door opened, and my mom greeted us with her usual warmth until her eyes landed on Xyra. Her smile faltered for a split second before she recovered. "Oh, hello, dear. You must be Xyra." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Carter," Xyra said, her melodic voice instantly filling the room. Sarah's jaw dropped, and she whispered, "She's an alien, isn't she?" "Sarah," I hissed. Xyra chuckled softly. "Your sister is perceptive, Jake." "Yes, I'm not from Earth. But I assure you, I mean no harm." My dad, who had been silent up until now, cleared his throat. "You're telling me my son's dating an alien?" "Dad, just hear her out," I pleaded. "She's amazing. She's kind, smart, and she's risked so much just to be here." To my surprise, Xyra stepped forward. "Mr. Carter, I understand this is unusual. Where I come from, family is also deeply valued. I wanted to meet you because Jake speaks so highly of you. He loves you, and I want to be part of his world." My dad studied her for a long moment. Then, to my shock, he sighed and said, "Well, if Jake loves you, that's what matters. Come on in. Let's get to know each other." Dinner was eventful. Xyra's dietary habits were a little unconventional, and my mom nearly fainted when she demonstrated how she could levitate objects with her mind. But by the end of the evening, the tension had melted away. Sarah bombarded Xyra with questions about space. My mom admired her grace and intelligence, and even my dad warmed up after Xyra shared a story about her home planet's version of baseball. After dinner, my dad brought out his old guitar. "Do you have music where you come from?" he asked, still a little hesitant but clearly curious. "Oh yes," Xyra said. "Our music is based on harmonics of light and sound. But I would love to hear your music. Dad began to strum a tune, something soulful and simple. To my amazement, Xyra joined in, her voice blending with the melody in a way that made the air seem to shimmer. It was as if her voice unlocked a hidden dimension in the song. When they finished, there was silence for a moment before Sarah burst into applause. "That was amazing," she exclaimed. Even my dad looked impressed. "You've got talent, Xyra." "Thank you," Xyra said, smiling. "Music is universal, isn't it?" By the time we left, my family's initial shock had turned into genuine affection for Xyra. My mom hugged her tightly at the door. "You're always welcome here, dear." "Thank you, Mrs. Carter. That means a lot to me," Xyra replied, her voice tinged with emotion. As we walked back to the car, I glanced at Xyra. "So, how do you think it went?" She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I think your family is extraordinary, just like you." And in that moment, I knew we'd be okay. Love, after all, transcends worlds. And with Xyra by my side, the universe felt a little smaller, a little more connected, and infinitely more beautiful.